What I want to do today is talk about my fall TBR, because I finally sat down and thought about what I want to read. I've limited myself to, I think, 10 books. It might be, I don't know, I think it's 10. We'll see. Maybe it's a dozen, but there's a caveat. So let's get into it and we'll talk about it. So, friends, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by, y'all. I know, we talked about books a couple weeks ago and I was sitting out here and I made fun of myself because this is such a ridiculous place to sit to talk about books, because I had to drag my camera and drag my books and drag all my stuff outside to get set up. But it is a, hang on, I have, oh my goodness, hang on. Let's try that again. I have my old dilapidated iPhone that I use to control my camera here. Let me just show you what a beautiful day it is. I'm going to scoot y'all that way. Look at that. I know, right? So I figured we're going to take, oh, breeze just started blowing now. If the wind starts whipping up like it does every time we're out here, we might have to negotiate. But for now, we're going to sit out here in this lovely weather and talk about some books. So we did our fall book tag, but that was really about books like that I had already read. So it was really more of like a summer book haul, or like summer, I don't know what it was, going over my books from the summer in sort of a fall taggy kind of way. I don't know. Anyway, what I want to do today is talk about my fall TBR, because I finally sat down and thought about what I want to read. Y'all, I get so like this when I start thinking about the books I want to read, because there are so many. So I've limited myself to, I think, 10 books. It might be, I don't know, I think it's 10. We'll see. Maybe it's a dozen, but there's a caveat. So let's get into it and we'll talk about it. So in absolutely no particular order, I think what I'm going to do, I do have a list, but you'll see why I have a list, because I have some physical books and then I have some Kindle books. So my Kindle books I wrote on my list, and some of my physical books are meant to refer to other books. So I know, y'all know it can't be easy. So let's just jump straight into this. So let's start with the book, The Bright Years, which I don't know where I found this book. I don't know where I got this book. Look how gorgeous this book is. So this, I believe, all of these, many of these, a couple of them I actually know what they're about, but many of them are like, I think it's about this or that. This one, I believe it's about a family in just absolute chaos, like just utter crisis. So I believe it's a mom, a dad, and their daughter. The mom has a son the dad doesn't know about. The dad has an addiction the mom doesn't know about, and the daughter is just trying to keep it together. So then things tumble to pieces, as they will. And I'm not even sure from whose point of view we hear this story, if it's multiple points of view, if it's the daughter telling, I don't know. But the wind is starting to blow. Like, it's like I hear it starting over there and it's working this way. I know that's not how it actually works, but that's how it works here. Anyway, because see, yep, it's starting, now it's coming from over there. I know, y'all. Anyway, so there it is. The daughter, so wait, I think, I don't know from whose point of view we hear this story, but the son that the dad didn't, and it's not like the family, the mom, the dad, and the daughter. The dad, I'm pretty sure, is not the dad of the mom's secret son, because that would be weird. But I think the secret son comes back later, like once they're grown. The secret son comes back, and so the daughter has to come back into the picture and like put things back together. I don't know, but I have a feeling that it's going to be just absolutely sad and devastating, and I think it's going to kill me. I think it's going to be really one of those. So I know, sounds great, right? But look at how pretty the cover is. The Bright Years. This one, how have I not yet read better than the movies? I don't have an answer for that. I've got nothing for you on that one. It is bright yellow right by my face. We ain't doing that. Y'all know better. This is Lynn Painter, of course. It is one of her absolute classics. Everybody but me has read this. I've owned it for years. I have moved it from TBR to TBR. I should put this on an FGRTO. Finally going to read this one. But let me tell you why I'm finally going to read this one. It's because Lynn Painter has another book coming out. Is that on my list? I don't think it made it to my list. Lynn Painter has another book coming out soon. Something about, I'm going to call it Better Than the Skater. That's not what it's called at all, but it's something about a rom-com with skaters or something. I know, right? Even knowing that little about it, it makes you want to read it. But it has nothing to do with this book. Like, they're not companion books. It's not like a duology, nothing. But I saw that one and I was like, well, that's not out yet. And I have this and I still have not read it. So I'm going to read this one. And y'all, I don't even, look at, do y'all see that ladybug on here? There it goes. I don't even really know what this one's about. I think it's something about these two like grew up together. They're next door neighbors, the boy and the girl. And maybe it's one of those, like, they were friends when they were kids and then they decide they're going to be boyfriend, girlfriend, something. I truly don't know what it's about, but I'm going to read it and I'll tell you what it's about after I read it. Now, we talked about this in my haul. Bride is not the book I'm going to read because we read this. Was it last year Bride came out? Mate is finna come out. And that's another one of Ali Hazelwood's like paranormal romance rom-com books. And I believe Mate has something to do with a human. I don't really know a whole lot. Something about it's the female, and she's either a human werewolf hybrid or it can't be a human wolf hybrid because that's too weird. That is too weird. I'm gonna call it a human. It's got to be a human werewolf, right? Because I stopped thinking about that. Yes. So she is not. Well, she's not like. Yeah, she doesn't have a pack. She is packless. So I believe. I don't know if she's going to, I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but I grabbed this book, one, because I love it. Look how beautiful it is. I don't have Mate yet, so I'm 100% going to read Mate very soon. I don't even know, it might be out. If it's not out, it should be out soon. So, Ali Hazelwood, paranormal romance. I'm doing a horrible job already because I don't know what anything is about, y'all. Paranormal romance. Yeah, and I believe it's going to be something about, here's my prediction, because I really don't know. I'm going to put this down. I think it's going to be something about the packless female. She has to find a pack, because if they don't find a pack, they die. So she's going to find a pack, and she's going to have to figure out how to live within the pack, and that cannot be easy, and it's going to be funny, and it's going to be spicy, because it's Ali Hazelwood, so there's going to be some, you know, rolling around together in it. That's that. Katabasis, I'm definitely going to read. We talked about this. It's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And it is oh look, I didn't even notice this before. There's the Lethe, the river that you have to cross to get into hell. That's right there. Oh look, and let me stop. Let me stop being so excited about the things that I know about hell. I know. We're going to pray over that later, y'all. So, 2 grad students go to hell to retrieve the soul of their thesis advisor. I don't know how he got to hell. I don't know what happened. But if they don't go get him, they're going to have to find another thesis advisor. And let me tell you from experience, you will do almost anything when you're working on your defense to keep from having to find another thesis advisor. Ask me how I know. So I believe this is about, actually I know this is about their journey to hell. And now that I'm looking at this a little more closely, I believe these are like can y'all see that? There are like, whatchamacallits, formulas and stuff here. I wonder if that's how they get to hell, or maybe things they have to do, because that's definitely how you get to hell right there. I'm very excited for this. So this is R.F. Kuang, of course, the author of Babel, which, remember we read that, oh, I think we read that for Summerween. It was fairly dense and very like philosophy laden, which I am a philosophy nerd. I studied philosophy in grad school, so reading, like, not having to struggle through the like philosophy myself, just reading other people struggling through it was just an absolute breath of fresh air for me in Babel. I think a lot of people found it awful and torturous and hated it. I get it. I totally respect that. And if it had been anything probably other than philosophy or the types of philosophy they were dealing with, I too would have been like, nope, I don't know. Like if it had been math or science, remember when we read Atmosphere? Oh, we read Atmosphere in book club over on Patreon, but my Patreon friends, remember, let me put this down. Remember when we read Atmosphere and we talked about how it wasn't very sciencey, which there were like references to sciencey stuff, and same thing with Project Hail Mary. It talks about sciencey stuff, and Project Hail Mary actually did get a little sciencey for me, but not terribly sciencey. And if we had had to struggle through a lot of like sciencey theory and stuff, I'd have noped my way right out of those. But because it's philosophy, I was totally down with watching our characters struggle through the kind of ridiculous higher level philosophy crap that I've had to struggle through myself in like different philosophy classes. I loved watching their struggle sessions and not having to go through it. So I think y'all, maybe that is what I am most excited about for this book. And it's awful. Like, it is so horrible of me to even say that, but I'm excited to watch these two struggle through, because you know they're going to go through all kinds of junk. Just having read R.F. Kuang before, you know that they're, oh yeah, oh 100%. Look, I mean, this in itself, the cyclical, like, is it a cycle versus the rung presentation of the layers of hell? Yeah. I am so excited to watch their struggle sessions as they work their way through this. And I will 100% tell you it is not, I know without even, I mean, I've cracked the cover, but I haven't read the first word of it. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but it is totally going to be for me. And with that being said, let's talk about this. Y'all know that any excuse in the world, I will drag out my collector's edition of Butcher and Blackbird, because look how gorgeous. I know. We have trigger warnings. Who uses trigger warnings as decoration? My girl Bryn Weaver does, because it's amazing. And hang on, I must refer to my list. The first book in her next series is called Tourist Season. It is coming out. That's another one of those, it might be out now. If it's not out, it's coming out soon. Because it's the end of September now, and a bunch of stuff was coming out at the end of September. So I'm gonna set this down. I'm not gonna sit here and reflect in y'all's eyeballs this whole time, but oh, I love this book. Butcher and Blackbird, by the way, this is one that's not for everyone, but if it's for you, oh my word, you are my people and I love you. Butcher and Blackbird, which we're not talking about, but it's the first book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, and they are serial killers, but they only kill other serial killers who need killing. And yeah, it's a love story. Love them. And did we talk about, there was a novella that I can't even remember the name of right now. It came out recently. It came out over the summer, and it was like all of our characters from Butcher and Blackbird, Scythe and Sparrow, and Leather and Lark, like all of them are in this novella. Now it wasn't great, it was good, because it's a novella. It's like 100 pages. It was like 80 pages, I think. How much can you do in 80 pages? I mean, you can do some stuff, but it was very good. Again, like I said, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I read it in like an afternoon. So good. So let's get back to what we're talking about, which is Tourist Season, which I believe is about, so I don't know any of our characters' names, because y'all know that I'm not going to read the like teasers for these, because folks give away stuff and that makes me mad. But It's about a tourist town with killing. And I think a dude, so our female main character is maybe, I was gonna say it's maybe law enforcement in the town, but I don't think that's right. She's something in the town and there are killings. But so for Bryn Weaver's killings, the protagonist only kills folks that need killing. So our FMC is going to only be killing folks or like covering up the killings of folks that needed killing. And I believe what happens is our male main character comes to town pursuing one of the, either like trying to figure out one of the murders or pursuing a killer or something. So those two end up dealing with killings together. Y'all, I am stoked for this one. I'm trying not to like get all up into it right away. I'm trying to wait a little bit because you remember I just tore through all of these and then I was sad when they were over. So I'm trying to wait a little bit for tourist season. But it's listed as like book 1 of the whatever, so it's going to be a series. This one we can't talk about yet. I need a second. Ruthless Vows. So this I've had for a while. I know I've hauled it. Look at that putrid. Why would you do that color? Y'all remember Divine Rivals? I know. Ugh, dear Roman, I can't. I don't know if I can, y'all. I thought I was ready for this. So Divine Rivals is about the gist of it. We ain't talking about Divine Rivals, but the gist of it is our female main character starts getting these magical letters and she responds to the magical letters. So she has this correspondence and I can't remember exactly, but she becomes a war correspondent. I think she's not a war correspondent to begin with. That's what it is. So she works at a newspaper and there's this war, this like essentially like a war of the gods going on. And she works at a newspaper and her rival at the newspaper goes to cover the war and then it turns out she has to go cover the war to compete with him. And we follow them and this love. I mean, it's a love affair that she has writing these letters to this like magical secret person. And y'all, the twist at the end of that book devastated me, like had me broken. And I said it's like a war of the gods, right? There are evil forces at play in that book. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But this is the sequel. I obviously have not read it yet. I thought I was ready, but so I'm not for sure gonna read it. I mean, I want to read this, but I don't know if I'm ready. So y'all are going to be like, you are so weak. You are so weak because now that's 2 of these that we're going to talk about in those same terms. Because, let's go ahead and do it. Y'all are already laughing at me. I know. I need a breeze right now because Onyx Storm. So this reflecty thing, look at those sprayed edges. This is the 3rd book in the, I don't know what they're called. It's Fourth Wing. What's the series called? I just call it the Fourth Wing books. I remember how devastated I was by Empyrean series is what it's called. Sorry. When you're old, you can't think of things and then they come flying into your brain. So you have to say them when they come to your brain or they go away again. Anyway, y'all remember how devastating Iron Flame was because, so the whole thing is about this culture at war. And they fight on dragons. So we get to know these fighters and their dragons. And when, from jump, when you read a book about war, you know that at least one person that you meet, that you're meeting them so that they can die in the war and break your heart, at least one. Well, combined with that, the dragons. So you get to know and love these creatures. I mean, some of them you hate. There's one that you just freaking hate. But so you get to know the riders and their dragons and you love them and you know something's going to happen. And then something happens. And then in book 2, Iron Flame, I mean, things happened that were like really sad and devastating, but what really, what really killed me in Iron Flame was the way that Rebecca Yarros did not remind us of our heartbreak from book 1, from Fourth Wing. She like dragged that heartache back to the surface. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I remember when that happened and I was sad. Nope. No, 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 no. It was a whole new heartache. And I'm not going to say any more than that because I refuse to give, like, well, I don't refuse to, because I think I did in another video I make, give details that spoiled something. I try not to give details that are going to spoil something, but just suffice it to say, the way that, yeah, the way that she talks, the way that Iron Flame handles things that happened in Fourth Wing breaks your heart all over again. So that's the second one that I had on my list, was all ready. Not sure that I'm ready for that one either. I have some books that I should have, now I have, so I have Haunting Adeline on my list. I have Hunting Adeline as book 2, which I should have brought that down since we're showing books that aren't the book I'm reading. Haunting Adeline. I thought it was dark academia. It is not. So here's what I think it is. And this is another one of those that's been around forever. Everyone's read it. I've not read it yet. Adeline, I think, ends up going to live in her family's, like, not necessarily ancestral house, but like the old house, like the house grandma lived in or something. And she's living there to like write a book, and the house is haunted. So, but she's not bothered by the ghosts. She has a stalker. So this person is stalking her, and like, I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but I think the stalker like leaves things in the house to scare her and let her know that the stalker is there. And it's called like the cat and mouse duology, Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. So I was going to say, I guess we know she doesn't die in book 1 because there's a book 2, but book 2 can be a prequel. I don't even know. I don't even know what I know, but the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking that's going to be scary. Like scary. Where I thought it was dark academia, now I think it's just dark and scary and gothic. So yeah, good on me for picking that one. So I have the Kindle version. I will stick here. I still think I might buy the actual book because I have Hunting, so I'm going to want Haunting to go along with it, right? Anyway, Wild Eyes. So remember Wild Love, how much we loved that Elsie Silver? That's the one about, remember the Richie Rich guy whose daughter, yes, the daughter he didn't know he had, Rose Hill, Rosewood, Rose something is the name of the town. But the daughter he didn't know he had just shows up on his door one day and is like, hey, I'm your daughter, nice to meet you. So he ends up having to deal with like raising her, and Rosie, that's why I remembered Rose. Rosie's somebody who was like his crush in high school, comes back to town, and she ends up working for him and like helping him deal with the sullen, like sulky, sad teenage or preteen daughter, teenage daughter, whatever. So that was Wild Love. Well, this is Wild Eyes. This is book 2. And you know how Elsie Silver does, like, it's not the like next step in the relationship of the people from that book. It's like the, you know, whomever, like the tangential people in the relationship. So I think Wild Eyes is about the Forbes. Is that the rich guy's name? He had some like Richie Rich uppity name. I think it was Forbes or something. Anyway, Ford. I think it was Ford. Forbes, whatever. His brother had a kid, and I think he was like the hottie hot single dad. So I think this one is about him. I think. So yeah, we gonna read that. Because here's how, I know you're like, dude, those books are like 6 years old. What are you doing? I know. There's a new one. There's like literally book 6 or something, book 4, book 6, book something just came out or is coming out. And you can't, I mean, you can jump and read them out of order, but y'all know I hate that because they're all like, just kind of like, you know, tangentially related, but they say things in the later books that refer to the earlier books. Now that I'm saying this, you know what? The reason that I didn't keep, I'm going to read it, but the reason I didn't keep reading the series was because it referred back to the books about remember the ranch, the books on the ranch? And it was no, but that's fine. I think it's fine. It's just like, they're like, side-by-side towns, like the Elsie Silver, like ranch towns over here, and this Rosewood or whatever, Rose Hill, Rosewater, whatever it is over here. So the people kind of like cross over, but whatever. You can't know everything all the time. I know. Anyway, all right, I just have a couple more. The Compound. I thought I had the book of this, but I guess I don't. So The Compound is like Lord of the Flies meets the real world. Do they still do the real world? I don't even know. But so it's a bunch of people who are chosen for this contest, and they're put in this house, and they have to compete. And no, you know what it is? It's more like Survivor, because they compete to eliminate each other. And the last, I think, like the last ones, the last person standing, or the last people standing, I think it's the last person standing, gets to stay in the house for as long as they want, obviously rent free, and like with all the stuff. So they compete to, I think like it starts off just barren, and they have to compete to get stuff. And of course it's all like televised and like all over social media and stuff. So I think people watch them, and people, I don't know if people can send them stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna read it, but yeah, I'm stoked because I think it's gonna be grimy and just like the worst things about humanity. And I'm very excited to read it. Hang on, let me look. Let me check this one real quick. Oh, okay. But let's take let's take a brief intermission, and let me tell y'all, did I tell you guys that I'm going to start doing daily devotionals? So not on this channel. I have another YouTube channel. It's called Fit Danielle Reads. I will link it below. And I'm going to do just quick, like 2 or 3 minute daily devotionals every morning, and I'm gonna post them over there. And like maybe we'll do some Bible studies, maybe we'll do some other like more in-depth things, but every single day I'm gonna do a quick daily devotional, and I'm gonna post it over there. So what made me think of that is because I have my Bible in my Kindle. So I was looking at my Kindle app to see the name of this other book, and I saw my Bible, and I was like, have I told my friends about my daily devotional channel? So I don't know that I will link any of that stuff over here, but I will link it in the description, and I would love for you to join me over there if you are so inclined. And I'm going to start, by the time you see this video, it will already have started. I'm going to start October 1st because I had to give myself a deadline, or I was going to keep like being scared and letting my doubts get in my way and make me not do it. So October 1st, I'm going to post my first daily devotional. So by the time you see this, there will already be some up if you're so inclined to go look. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program, which is Filthy Rich Fae. I know, I just talked about Jesus and now I'm talking about Filthy Rich Fae. I know. This, I have no idea how I found this. I believe it's in Kindle Unlimited, so that might be where it came up. But I believe our female main character is like, so in this world there are Fae, the world that our character lives in. And I think she's maybe a doctor, or she's something. She does something like medical, hospital, emergency roomy, and she's managed to stay out of trouble, but her brother has not. So she ends up involved in this world of like filthy rich fae, like underworld fae creatures, to try to get her brother out of trouble. That's all I know. I am ensorcelled. I cannot wait to read it. I believe it's going to be trashy, and I think this is probably going to be a fairly quick read, and I'm stoked for it. Oh, I'll put the picture here. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. This is Christina Lauren, and y'all. So Josh and Hazel are friends. They've known each other forever, like since college. Hazel is a lot. She's very opinionated. She is very outspoken. She is a hoarder, like she collects animals like pets or something. Like she's just a lot. And Josh can handle her because they've been friends forever. But they insist that they're just friends, which tells me that at some point in this book they're going to become not just friends. And I'm down for it because I love Christina Lauren, and Christina Lauren can spin a tale. So Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. So stoked for that one. Now, I have a couple of others here. One, I'm actually done with this. I'm listening to it now. I have the audio version checked out on Libby, and I'm listening to it. We talked about this last month. The Saints of Swallow Hill is our like bonus book club book for Patreon. So actually, when this video goes up, this video should go up probably Friday. The next day, Saturday, we're going to be doing our bonus live stream talking about The Saints of Swallow Hill, which I finished reading, y'all. This book is so, so good. This is the one that's advertised. If you loved Where the Crawdads Sing, you will love, 100%, if you loved Where the Crawdads Sing, you will love The Saints of Swallow Hill. It's about our female main character who ends up going by the name Ray, so I can't think of her actual name. Raylyn. Raylyn, I told you all this before when I was telling what I thought I knew about the book, but she loses her husband, and it's back during, right around the Great Depression, or like right around those times, like the 30s maybe. Loses her husband, ends up having to go work at this turpentine camp, like getting turpentine from trees, and women couldn't work there, so she had to pretend to be a man. So yeah, it's so, so good. But yeah, so we're about to talk about this for our second book club book over on my Patreon. And speaking of which, y'all, it's almost October, so it's time to talk about our October book club books. And once again, we're going to do 2 books this month. The book that we will all read together and we'll talk about, and I'll do like periodic updates on and stuff, is, I don't have the physical copy of it, but it's The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. And I believe that one's going to be a little bit lighthearted. I don't think it's a rom-com, but I think it's like kind of romancy. And I will tell you what made me think about reading this, Ruthless Vows, is that Heart and Mercy in the book. So Heart and Mercy are the two characters, the male main character and the female main character. And they end up writing letters to each other, but they don't know who they're writing to, just like in Divine Rivals. And of course they end up, they have to end up falling for each other, because how else does that whole thing work out? But Mercy is an undertaker and Heart is some kind of like sheriff or something. And it's like I think it's kind of like Wild West, but it's kind of like, it's not magical realism because it ain't realism, but it's a magical kind of setup. Like they're like fighting monsters or fighting demons or something. I'm not exactly sure about all that, but I think it's also going to be a little creepy because Mercy is an undertaker. So there's going to be dead stuff. I'm stoked, even though I don't know a whole lot about it. So that one we're all going to read together. And then South of the Buttonwood Tree. Look, y'all, just look. I know. I loved, and the other members of my book club, or sorry, Patreon, which really is book club, which is always in my description, but I'll link it in the description. If you're interested in going over there and looking at the different levels and thinking about joining, I'll link it below. But folks who, like everybody that read this for book club, loved it. So I said, well, you know what? South of the Button Tree sounds a whole lot like that. Now this is Heather Weber, who also wrote, was it Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe? This is magical realism. And in South of the Buttonwood Tree, our female main character, so she lives in this small southern town, and there's this buttonwood tree, this magical tree, and like it tells you what to do, and you got to do what the tree tells you to do. And she finds a baby, right? She finds a baby by the buttonwood tree, and so there's this whole thing about whether or not she should have the baby should stay with her. Wait, there's something else I was going to tell you. Buttonwood tree, the baby. I think that's it. I don't know if I know anything else about this. I don't remember. I know there was something else, but then I was already talking and I forgot. But so small southern town, magical realism. We're going to read this. Nope. We're going to read The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy all together. I'll do like updates and stuff, all of that over on my Patreon. And then this one, my Beast level members will read this, and then we'll do a separate live stream where we talk about this at the end of the month. Unless we decide we want to do something, it's some other kind of way, but I think we're really going to love this book. And y'all, I think that's it. Hang on, let me check my list again. Let me get this off of this pile of books before I drop it. Let me check my list one more time. Yeah, that's it. That's my whole list. So, friends, let me know, What are y'all reading now? What book have you loved recently that I need to put on my TBR? Because I guess that's something of a TBR right there, but still. Tell me what you've been reading and what books you've loved recently, and let us know what books you have on your fall TBR. Let us know in the comments. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we are most definitely friends. Let's go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos over on Fit Danielle Eats the beginning of every week, with some book videos over here sprinkled in between, and now I'll be doing morning devotionals over on Fit Danielle Prays every day. So catch me on one of those, or I'll see you on the next one.